Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus. We're looking today at the foundations of creation science, and we're going to be using as our discussion starter book In the Beginning by Waldron. This is the 7th edition. I've got an 8th edition floating around here somewhere. I think he may be up to the 9th edition. I probably also have like a 4th, 5th, or 6th edition too. One thing I do appreciate about Dr. Brown, again, an MIT trained scientist, taught it like Army War College for decades and all of this, is that when new evidence arises, he is not ashamed at all to come to different conclusions and hypotheses. Hence the need for one of a few reasons for new editions, also just learning more about particular subjects. So let's get to this foundations of creation science. Thanks for being here. Check out our videos on this subject and a whole host of things on all things Christians, a lot of Bible stuff as well. So he goes into the life sciences. Again, we're just using this as a discussion starter book. Again, I highly recommend this book. And he goes into duplicate copies of DNA, coded information, are coiled up, each with 100 trillion cells of our body. You have 46 segments of deoxyribonucleic acid in most of your cells. You receive 23 segments from your mother and 23 from your father. DNA contains unique information that determines what you look like, much of your personality. Every cell of your body is the function throughout your life. So this is the life sciences, specifically human life. And so that's pretty fascinating. Of course, the famous Crick and Watson discovery way back in the day, but it's still less than 100 years old. If the DNA 46 segments in one of your cells were uncoiled, connected, and stretched out, it would be about 7 feet long. So you got 100 trillion cells, and the DNA in one of those 100 trillion cells is 7 feet long. Fearfully and wonderfully made. I mean, that's amazing. Compact. It would be so thin, its details could not be seen even under an electron microscope. If all of this densely coded information from one cell of one person were written in books, it would fill a library of 4,000 books. So just one cell of 100 trillion is a 4,000 book library. It's the reason they call it the language of God. Francis Collins, John Lennox. 3.1 billion sequences in each DNA, and it's a word. It's all a word. So truly, Jesus is the Word. We're created in the image of God. So pretty amazing. If all the DNA in your body were placed end to end, it would stretch back from the moon 500,000 times back there and back. In book form, that information would completely fill the Grand Canyon more than 75 times. So all the things Jesus did, if everything was written, the world itself couldn't contain the books. And that's just with one human body, so to speak. If one set of DNA, one cell's worth from every person who ever lived were placed in a pile, it would weigh less than an aspirin. Understanding DNA is just one small portion of believing you're fearfully and wonderfully made. It says, see genetic information on page 62 for the above calculations. And then we come from the foundations, creation science, astronomical and physical sciences. Genesis 1, Genesis 1:16, 1:1. Space exploration has brought into our living room some of the marvels of the universe. Few people, however, appreciate just how many of these recent discoveries were not what evolutionary theory had predicted. The phrase back to the drawing board frequently follows discoveries in space. And I'll just say it all over the place. I was just reading some like Yahoo News stories, and they were talking about human origins. Oh, we've got to recalibrate that. In another science article, we've got to recalibrate our understanding of that, you know. So many space exploration programs tried to learn how the Earth, Moon, and Solar System evolved on the Kuiper disk. Ironically, not one of these questions have been answered. For scientists who start with evolutionary assumptions, many perplexing problems have arisen. For example, after a moon exploration program, no evolutionist can explain with any knowledge and confidence how the moon formed and why there's so little moon dust up there as well. Those who try encounter either a barrage of scientific exceptions or resort to philosophical speculations. And so the heavens declare the glory of God, Psalm 19:1. Then we come to the earth sciences. The center object on the opposite page, it's got a picture, represents Noah's Ark. This drawing is based on detailed and convincing description by a man who claimed to have twice walked on the Ark in the early 1900s. His information has been checked in ways he never could have imagined. Every verifiable detail has supported his story. And we may go into that later. The implications of worldwide flood for the earth sciences, for the theory of evolution, and for mankind in general deserve the serious reflection of every thoughtful person. Earth has many features which scientists with evolutionary propositions cannot explain. And then he goes into the fountains of the great deep, and he's got a hydroplate theory that I think he's the one that developed that is pretty interesting, and he dedicates a pretty decent chunk of this book to that. So God bless the foundations of creation science. Read Genesis 1, absolutely amazing. God bless you. Bye-bye.